Let me ask you this. Who can pay a vehicle off in 36 months?
All right, nobody right now.
Like, as inflation goes up, service goes up. That goes hand in hand with buying cars. As cars go up, service goes up.
You talked to me a lot about negative equity, and you're seeing that as a big time problem.
Absolutely correct. And if you remember last time, I told you we don't charge anything extra on our cars.
All right, so JJ, you are a GM here at a Nissan dealership. So tell me what you're seeing as far as customers coming in. What's your temperature on the market right now?
Well, the temperature on the market is basically dealerships have a ton of inventory. Just a few months ago, I probably had 40 cars in stock, 40 new cars. Now I'm sitting at 117 with another 70 coming this month.
Wow.
So with the next couple of months, if I didn't sell another new car, I'd have 233 new cars in stock.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what are you guys going to do about it? Do you just reduce prices and hope these customers come? Are you telling the factory, hey, we need to not have so many here? What's the plan?
Well, the plan is as Nissan continues to send out inventory, we do have the choice to either accept or deny inventory. So you start to see a lot of other dealers start to turn down inventory because we've got too much.
And this is the allocation process.
Absolutely correct. So like today, there's a PPO that opens up that tells us how many we earned, and we get to decide on if we want those cars or we don't.
And that's your turn and earn kind of process.
Absolutely correct.
Now. Okay, so what vehicles right now do you feel like you can move very well, and what maybe more price point that is a little bit more difficult for you?
That's crazy, because I remember last time a few months you were here, you were looking for Sentras or cheap stuff under $20,000, right?
Versa.
Yeah. And I had one or two.
Right.
Now I'm sitting on probably 23.
Wow.
So
then back then when I came, that was about, it's only been like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I talked to a couple salesmen here, and they were like, if they give us Versas, we could sell them just as quick as we can get them, but it's not the case even on the cheaper stuff now.
Even on the cheaper stuff, just because people are what do we consider cheap, right? I remember when Versas Versas and Sentras used to be $12,000 to $15,000. Right now, my cheapest Versa is $20,000, and my Sentras go up to almost $30,000.
Wow. Well, now we're seeing that the average new car is $50,000. So a Versa compared to this market at $21,000, that's cheap.
It is.
Yeah, but you're still having a hard time moving those.
It is. We need something from Nissan to help us out.
Okay.
There's no additional incentives or anything on it. They just assume that just because you got them, you can sell them. But people still want something from your manufacturer to help them out.
Right. So, but a year and a half ago, that wasn't the case. If you got it, you were going to sell it.
If you had it, you were going to sell it. It didn't matter just because supply and demand, right? Now that you got it, Nissan says you got it. Now what are you going to do with it?
Now, do you feel like so let's go back. So we're seeing that incentives are raising from a lot of other manufacturers. It sounds like you're not seeing enough from Nissan yet, though. But have you seen some increase of incentive spend? Have you seen special interest rates? Are you getting any help?
I am seeing special interest rates.
Okay.
When your average rate right now is 8%, 8 to 9%. Nissan's got a few subvented rates out there for 0% for 30. But let me ask you this: who can pay a vehicle off in 36 months?
All right, nobody right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds good, but your average consumer can't pay a vehicle off when vehicles are $30,000, $40,000, and $50,000. They can pay it off in 36 months.
So it's just a struggle for any consumer that's walking the doors. Now I know that last time I came and talked to you, you talked to me a lot about negative equity, and you're seeing that as a big time problem.
Absolutely correct. I'm starting to see more of that now because of other dealers that may have charged their customer base over and above the cost of the car.
Right.
And if you remember last time, I told you we don't charge anything extra on our cars. We want to earn a customer. We don't want to just take them out of the market forever. But now what's going to happen is those customers that are ready to get out of those cars, that bought those cars at the height of 2021, 2022, are ready to get out.
Right.
They just can't. And there's not enough markup in new cars today to help them get out. And there's not any incentives, extra rebates, which Nissan is known for, to help these customers get out.
So what happens now when you have one of these consumers that comes in, and I know the average underwater that a consumer is on their car right now is somewhere around $6,000. So you get somebody that comes in, they're $6,000, $10,000 underwater on their vehicle. Are there any levers that you guys can pull, or are you having to get to the point where you have to turn customers away?
Believe it or not, some banks are increasing the amount that they'll loan on a car.
Okay.
So opposed to it being 115% or 120%, then maybe they're doing 135, 140% because they know that they've got to do something to capture that business. So they're doing their part, I guess, to giving them a little bit more advance to get them out, but you still need money.
Right. And then that's just kicking the can down the road, because
That's it.
when they go to their next deal 3 years from now, when they want to upgrade again, now instead of $6,000 underwater, now they're $12,000 underwater.
Well, see, the thing used to be, in order to get out of all negative equity, you used to lease your way out of it.
Right.
You can't do that anymore.
Right.
Because customers that have came in that have leased cars 2 years ago had, let's just say they had Sentra, for instance. They could lease a Sentra for $190 a month. Now, to get the same car, it costs you almost $400 a month to lease a car.
So I know that last time we talked about a little bit of what you guys were making on these cars, because you're not doing a lot of these high margin products. You're not charging nitrogen out there. You're not charging market adjustments. I'm not seeing that on any of your cars. In fact, all of your cars are MSRP, and when I go to your website, it's under MSRP, which is great. But I know that there's no margin in that. So where are your big profit centers right now? Is it more in your repair bays? Is that where you're making your money right now?
Well, that's reality is service is always where you're gonna make it up. Just because people are gonna continue to service the vehicle. People are keeping vehicles longer because they can't afford to get out of the cars that they're in right now. So they're hoping that later on down the road, if they just keep servicing them, then eventually they'll be able to get out. And as inflation goes up, service goes up.
Right.
So that goes hand in hand with buying cars. As cars go up, service goes up. So that's where we'll make our money up. Is just because we want to take care of customers in their cars, so they're going to pay a little bit more for service.
So what's got to change? We're talking about this market getting worse. The days of inventory, you're seeing it here, and you guys are selling cars for under MSRP, and you're still having a hard time moving cars out, and you need Nissan to step up. But what's got to change in this market? Is it interest rates? Is it manufacturers having to bring down MSRPs, get cars cheaper to you? Is it that customers, the economy's just got to get better? What fixes this market right now?
Believe it or not, used cars is what's going to fix this market right now. Because the more used cars that I get that I acquire, well, they go twofold. I've got new cars. In order to get used cars, I got to sell more new cars. Right. Because to try to buy them at the auction is
you can't.
You just can't do it.
Not make money.
No, not at all. And what you're buying at the auction is something that another dealer doesn't want. There's a reason it's at the auction.
Exactly right. Yep.
So, what's going to fix it is Nissan is going to have to come back to their base and put incentives, rebates, really. It's okay to say, hey, yeah, we've got special rates. That's great. But I need rebates. I need rebates from Nissan to help us move these cars.
Because you got to pull monthly payments down.
Correct.
That's what's going to sell the cars.
Absolutely correct.
Really, at the end of the day, the customer probably doesn't really care what they're paying for the car, right?
Correct.
They care what they're going to pay on a monthly basis.
What's my payment?
Right.
Right. It used to always be, what's my payment? I want a $250 payment. That $250 payment just doesn't exist right now.
Right. So what's the lowest payment that you can get a customer into right now? Say they have average credit right now. What's the lowest you feel like you can get a customer into?
Well, you figure if a customer puts no money down, and if your average car is $20,000, if we're talking new cars,
right?
If your average car is $20,000, that's $400 to $450 payment.
Yeah, and people they can't do it because typically the people who are having to stretch to get that amount, and they're going to the cheaper of the cars that are on this dealership, they're probably already stretched to begin with, and that payment that's $450 4 years ago, that was a $229 a month payment. So the payment's almost doubled just in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. I would say Nissan is probably one of the few dealerships that the MSRP hasn't increased that much, opposed to other manufacturers. But even for us, as our cars continue to go up, people's pay don't go up.
Right.
So it still makes it tough for them to get into newer cars.
So I know that you've told me that you talked to a bunch of other GMs of other franchises, other brands. Are there any brands that stick out to you right now that are doing it wrong, and it's going to be a big struggle for them going forward? I have one in my head, but I'm curious to know if you have any other franchise managers that you talk to and they're like, oh, I don't know what we're going to do.
I got a couple of buddies that are with Dodge, and a couple of with
That's
Ford.
the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
That and they were telling me that their MSRPs are like doubling, and that's just crazy because, like I say, those things go up, but people's money don't go up.
Yeah. And they're going up from here. We just hear Ford's MSRPs are raising. It's great that Nissan over the years has kept their MSRP somewhat static. Whereas you're seeing these other manufacturers, they have to see these dealers turning down the allocations now.
Yeah.
And then they're going to raise their MSRPs. And I know they're padding shareholders' pockets right now. The manufacturers, they're making tons of money, but the manufacturer and the dealer completely different. The manufacturer might as well be a wholesaler. They make money when they sell a car to you.
Correct.
They don't make money when they sell a car to a consumer. That's when you make the money.
Absolutely.
So
correct.
that's why, and I explain this a lot on my channel, is why they can put together good earnings. These manufacturers can still make good money as long as these dealers are taking in cars. When it changes is when a dealership like you say, Nissan, I've got too many of
I've got
these.
too much.
I got too many. I can't take any more.
Absolutely correct. So, right
And
now
we haven't seen that yet. We're starting to see it now, though.
Absolutely. I'm kind of at the point where I've got to back off a little bit just because, it's not just, getting the car in, but it's paying the interest and floor plan on these cars that are coming in. If they sit, then that's costing the dealership. And, that's costing owners, and that's costing,
So I have a question for you that I get a whole lot. So a lot of my viewers will say, okay, well, these dealerships that have these floor plans, they have all these cars out there, and they have inventory that's stacking up. Why don't they just go in, and this is a question for you too, go in and cut all your prices by $10,000 and move them on instead of knowing that, okay, this car's probably going to sit for another month. And you're going to have to just continuously pay this floor plan and just kick the can down the road. Why not decrease the prices up front to go ahead and move them so you don't have to pay that floor plan later?
A lot of dealerships that can do that is because of what they charge in their market adjustment. They can go ahead and say, hey, why don't we just go ahead and show a $10,000? Let me show a $5,000 discount on a car because it may show a $5,000 discount on the car, but I can show you countless and countless of addendums that we take off other dealers' cars that say, hey, $3,000 for air, which is nitrogen. Let me for wheel locks. Let me give you $200 for wheel locks. That I can show you. Hey, I'm going to give you $5,000 off the car to help it move. The markup in new cars isn't what it used to be.
Right.
So what we have to do is we have to be smarter with how we're selling our cars to customers. We try not to put any addendums or anything, and like we said, we've got our vehicles listed at below what suggested retail is. And then what we also started doing is giving our customers limited lifetime warranty. Just because we want to make sure that we keep that customer coming back to us and coming back to our service department, because that's where we're going to make money. It's just taking care of the customer down the road. I can't make it on the car right now. Right. But I can make it taking care of a customer and service.
Yeah, so if you're not going to make the money on the car right now, you want to make it on the next car that they buy. Hopefully when they choose you again, by incentivizing them to choose this place as the place that they buy cars.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. So going back to the floor plans, I can give this example of what a lot of probably GMs are facing this right now, are talking about, okay, why don't we just lower the prices right now versus just kick the can down the road, pay that floor plan next month? Because you would have to go out there and basically decide, okay, I'm going to have to mark down all my cars by $10,000 right now, or I can just pay this $500 floor plan next month, and hopefully that customer
It's because they don't look at the big picture like that.
Right,
all they're looking at is, let me look at the profit that I can make on it right now.
Yeah.
But, unless you're a GM or you're an owner, where you got to worry about floor plan. As a sales manager, as a used car manager, all you know is you're selling the next car. It could sit for as long as it's out there. But an owner or somebody that's focused on taking care of their store, taking care of their company, taking care of their employees, you got to look at those things. How long do I have to sit on this before it starts eating into, the profit?
Right.
So, we do an okay job of turning our inventory. Nissan said, okay, I'm gonna give you some extra inventory, but in order to do that, you got to sell it in XYZ days.
Right.
Or you start playing floor plan on it.
So what happens in the case where, okay, it feels like Nissan is awarding you this inventory, right? But now it's no secret. It's a little bit slower to sell inventory right now. And now Nissan sees that, okay, you are slower at selling this inventory, but now there's a lot of dealers that are slower at selling this inventory. So instead of what seems like an award of this inventory, they're like, okay, now you got to take it because this inventory's got to go somewhere. So it seems like a double-edged.
It is a two-edged sword, because at the time when you didn't have inventory and they were offering this up to select dealers, we were like, yeah, let me go ahead and take that.
Right.
So while other dealerships don't have it, let me ramp up the inventory that we got. And then once we started receiving it, just kept coming. It kept coming. And then business kind of slowed up. And now I'm sitting out here with a sea of inventory that is for sale.
Yeah, it's for sale. Yeah,
it's for sale that I've got to figure out how to sell it.
Yeah. And do you have certain deadlines, whether they're put on you by Nissan or they're self-mandated deadlines, like, okay, I need to sell X amount by this timeline, or I need to not have cars on my lot longer than this before you start maybe finding outlets? I don't know whether you send them to other dealerships, if you're sending them to auction. What happens in the case where you have a car sitting out there longer than that time frame that you want it to be out there? What do you do in that situation?
I decide at that time how I'm going to market that vehicle. For one thing, I can't market it less than what the manufacturer says I can market a car.
Correct. Right.
So I can't advertise a vehicle lower than what the invoice is on a car.
Right.
So what do I put out there to move that car? Only thing I can do is put, clearance signs out on it that somebody happens to drive by.
Yeah, you go out to the corner and you hold this paper sign saying, "Hey, Nissan's buy one get one free." So
yeah, so you can't advertise that, but what we can do is, we do some Facebook stuff that we may say, "Hey, I've got a blowout deal on this car. Give me a call on it."
Yeah.
I can't tell you it's below XYZ dollars because I don't want to be not compliant. But I can say, hey, we've got blowout deals on these vehicles that have to go. So,
is that frustrating? Being a dealer that needs to sell inventory right now, and you'll sell it less than what Nissan wants you to market it for, but you'll take less than that, and if you take less than that, and if you market for less than that, you'll sell it. It's got to be so frustrating to not be able to say, hey, customers, come to me, I will sell you this car for this amount.
That I think all manufacturers are that way.
They are.
They are. But we, as a GM, I'm definitely that guy that's like, hey, what's gonna make me different? Because if we all can't sell below what the invoice is on a car,
right?
Years ago, or just not even years ago, a couple of years ago, everybody was on the volume game, right? You gave a car away because that's how you got your money. Once COVID hit, then it was, you guys are making hand over fist money. Not us as a dealer, because we didn't mark our cars up, but they decided that they were going to take certain incentives that we were allowed to have from us because
y'all were rolling in the money, right? They thought you were making.
They thought we were making
money.
Hand over fist, so we didn't need that additional income.
But these dealerships that were doing the right thing, that weren't gouging the customers,
correct,
they're the ones that got hurt in the situation. You guys got hurt
Absolutely
over the last 3 years because you were doing the right thing.
Absolutely correct. And we're going to continue to do the right thing. It's just I work for an owner that really cares about this community and making sure that we do the right things for the people that are in our community. So, regardless what the market is, we're going to continue to do the right thing.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we can go home and say, with our heads held high and be like, that customer that other dealerships made all that money on up front that they won't get back, guess what? I'll get that customer.
Yep, and you just make customers' life. And I can actually vouch for this dealership because I've been to dealerships over the last year and a half looking for these market adjustments, looking for things. And I remember when I was doing these videos showing a lot of these price gouging things, I was amazed being able to walk up onto your dealership and like there's not even a nitrogen fee. There's nothing. And I'd never seen that looking at that over the last year and a half.
Right.
And I was amazed, and that's why I came in here and started talking to y'all as soon as I saw that. But that's one thing that differentiates you guys from a lot of other dealers. Or what else makes this dealership a place that a customer wants to just continuously come back? Their family members, when they're going to buy a Nissan, why do they want to come here?
People. It's definitely the people that we've got here. I've got salespeople. I've got managers that have been here for years. So you look at it this way: when the market changed and all these dealerships were making a ton of money, they employed a ton of people. Mm. And then when the market changed, all those people that they employed, they didn't need anymore. So what happens is you can't build a relationship with a customer when you don't have the same people every day that they see when they come in.
Do you feel like customers are wanting to come to this dealership because of the dealership, or they want to come to this dealership because of the salesperson they dealt with?
They want to come because of the people that are here.
Okay.
Definitely the people that are here. Okay. I've got salespeople who have been here for 26 years, 17 years, 18 years. My shortest tender salesperson has been here for almost a year. I got managers and finance people that have been here for 20 plus years.
And that's unheard of. Salespeople in this environment, this industry, they don't last. That's a high turnover position.
It's high
high stress position too.
Absolutely. Yeah. But not at this store.
Okay.
So I still tell a customer, treat a customer whether they can buy, they can't buy, whether they're tanked in the car, whether they're not tanked in the car, you still treat them like $1 million, because guess what? Eventually they'll come back. They'll come back and buy.
So I want to talk to you about lending. What are you seeing from banks, outside lending institutions that customers are trying to get loans? What I've seen is that stuff's tightening up. Are you seeing
banks are definitely tightening up because of, and I'm gonna have to go back to some of your videos, some of these repos that these people have put themselves in. And think about this: what is the average car payment today? $700 to $750. Yep. That's the average car payment. Some of these people can't afford them, so guess what? They're sending them back. You're seeing them at the auction.
Yep.
And so now banks are like, they're really being concerned. They're really tightening up on how they're going to lend their money out.
So are you finding that your customers are having to come up with a higher down payment on some of these cars? And is that a struggle for a lot of these customers that are trying to get in the door?
Oh yeah, definitely a struggle. Yeah. Like I said, cars have gone up, people's pay hasn't gone up. Right. And people are trying to decide on, hey, do I want to put money on this car, or do I want to go feed my family? So, luckily we deal with a lot of banks that do help out. I call them second chance banks, right?
Yeah.
They help out people with low down payments.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're finding in that when going into the subprime lending, that's where we're seeing more of the delinquencies happen. Mm-hmm. So as you're seeing that, are you having a lot more people that come in here and say, "Oh, I've got a repossession on my credit," or are you seeing more of that pop up? That's stopping people from getting a loan? Because I know a lot of times if somebody's going to come in and they have a repossession, they're probably not getting one of these new cars.
No, but they will buy a used car.
They will buy a used car. Yeah.
They may not buy a new car, but they will buy a used car. But I will say I'm fortunate at this store just because of the area that I'm in. We don't have a lot of. My average loyal customer is anywhere from, on average, 45 up.
Okay. So it's a little more affluent customer base that you have.
Yeah. I've got I got a lot more true customer that can pay cash. I have less of a customer that
makes the deal way easier, right?
Yeah. Well, I prefer them in finance, but I'll take cash.
Well, you're gonna make money on the back end, but don't finance though. Pay cash. You save money. Yeah. But don't tell them you're going to pay cash when you come in here. It's probably not going to matter anyway because you're going to y'all figure it out.
We always figure it out. Yeah, we just want to take care of the customer. Whether they pay cash or they finance, we still going to take care of them the same way.
So what does the used car market then look like for you? Because, mostly you're doing is new car deals, but you're also there's more money to be made in the used car.
There's definitely more money to be made in used cars. And the way that I've got to acquire is I got to have trades. In order to get trades,
you got to sell these things.
I need to sell new cars. Yep. So, and I think I told you a little bit earlier that, a lot of vehicles that we would have normally sent to the auction we're keeping because customers are still looking for that $10,000 or less car.
Right.
And then we're finding out that we can sell those cars.
And I need you to stop figuring that out because I need you to send it to me so I can buy it. So here's the problem then. You're not the only dealership. You're not the only franchise new car store that's figuring this out.
Yeah.
All these other franchise dealers are figuring this out too. And it's going to create an even tighter squeeze on the used car inventory. And that's why you can see the volatility in the used car market like we're seeing right now, and like we'll continue to see over the next couple of years, because you guys are going to keep the nicer stuff, which you should. You're going to make more money on it, but also it has you to where you're not so tied to your new car inventory.
Yeah.
So it feels like that's bad for the manufacturers. It's bad for used car dealers, but it's good for you kind of here sitting in the middle.
Well, it'll make me look at a new car different than if a customer's got a trade. It makes me look at a new car different.
Does that mean you're paid more for that used car?
It means I may step up and pay a little bit more because I'll pay more for it if I try to buy it from the auction.
Right.
Why not cut the fees and everything out and pay a little bit more to the customer to sell them a new car?
Right.
Don't make it on a new car, but if I'm able to get a used car, a good vehicle for a customer, I'd rather get a car that way.
So do you guys go to the auction to get used cars at all, or is it all just trade-ins?
No, we go to the auction. We try to buy stuff from the auction.
I remember last time I talked to you, you had never been to the auction, right?
Absolutely correct.
Still never been to the auction.
It's all online. So I'm a cat switch.
No, you got to come with me one week. You got to come with me one week.
I like to do that. You have to take me one time.
Well, we got to wait. We got to wait till it's 95 degrees outside.
I'm in.
And then
I'm definitely
car,
in.
And I'm gonna get you into the cheapest, ugliest Nissan Altima.
I have seen you out there
nasty.
sweating.
Oh, it's terrible.
I've seen you out there sweating and everything.
Terrible.
But really, you need to put your hands on a car. I get it. That's why, trade-ins and stuff that I can see, I can touch, I can feel, I can smell. I put more money in those cars knowing that at least I can retail that car to a customer. I can't do that when I'm trying to buy off the line or definitely buy from the auction.
Okay.
So.
All right. Pull your crystal ball out. So we know what the market is right now. We know how tough it is for franchise dealers like you to be moving inventory. Where do we go from here? I don't think rates are going to move significantly anytime soon. I feel like manufacturers are still going to try to pump out as much as possible to you guys. Do you feel like we're getting close to a breaking point? Do you feel like we're a slow grind down? What do you feel like the market's going to do from here, both on the new car side and probably the used car side?
I think new car side, this is me pulling my crystal ball out, and I might have a little inside information on that I can't share though. But MSRPs will start to go down.
Okay.
I believe MSRPs will start to go down. I think dealerships, manufacturers will see that, they price themselves out of the market. So what do they have to do? They'll have to adjust those in order to.
And does that mean like
sell.
New Year's? Are we going to have to wait for New Year's to come out to see the MSRPs come down? Or do you feel like you're going to see from these manufacturers, we've already seen it from Stellantis, that they're going to start reissuing new MSRPs on stuff that's already sitting on
They're not
lots?
going. Yeah, on Nissan's world, I don't think we're going to see new stickers come out.
Okay.
So I think it's the next model year coming up. You'll see 2025 model years. I think you'll see a huge difference on what the MSRP is going to be.
So what does that do to inventory that's going to be sitting on the lot?
We'll
at
have to
that
sell
time?
it. We'll have to sell it before then. So
they're going to have to break some rules then and let you market it for less than what they are. So let you
they
market.
won't they won't do that. But what they'll do is they'll incentivize. They'll put bigger rebates on that'll eventually pop up. That's how you be able to advertise that car.
Okay.
So the invoice may be XYZ, but you can market a rebate on there.
Okay.
So those days of seeing $5,000 off or $4,000 off with the rebate, you might be able to see those pop back up.
That's good. I'm already starting to see a couple Ford dealerships. I've seen a little bit of that on the side of their cars, like on the side of the trucks, F-150s everywhere. Anyway, so you are the GM at Ben Minette Nissan here in Salisbury, North Carolina. Why? And I completely endorse this dealership. Never seen a markup, never seen add-on, never seen nitrogen. You know how much I hate nitrogen. Anyway, never seen that here. I completely endorse this dealership. If you're in the area, you want a Nissan, come see them. Why should they come buy a car from Ben Minette Nissan in Salisbury?
You should come here because this is still a people business. At the end of the day, people just want to be treated like people. People want to be taken care of. They don't want to. They don't want to have to pay for something that they don't want. They don't want to see these addendums on the side of the car. They just want to know that when they come in, they're going to be treated right. They're going to get a fair price, and that they're going to get a lifetime limited warranty.
That's good. All right. Thank you, JJ.
I appreciate it, brother.
you letting
Thanks
us
so
come here
much.
and talk to you. All right. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this video. And I want to thank Ben Minette Nissan. They have also a dealership in Concord, North Carolina.
Absolutely.
GMC, Chevy,
Buick,
Cadillac. Is there anything else? Am I missing anything?
Nope.
I think that's it. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Boom.